day, black in the night. Stripes in our veins, sparks gonna fly. The beast is awake, orange, black and white. Cause when the jungle come alive, who day we ignite in Cincinnati, we gon' rise in the jungle, we unite in drippin' orange and black and white. Who day when we fight, live and die in these stripes. Wake up the beast, every game day is a feast. Time to bust it off the leash. In the jungle, drippin' heat. Tigers strike the city streets. East side, stand up. West side, stand up. If you reppin', who day? Time to put your hands up. Bingo stripes, we in it. New day, new age, yeah, we get it. Cincinnati, jungle fitted. Who day in our house, we win it. Orange and black and white, we build it. Earn our stripes, you know we kill it. Bleed our colors, jungle drippin'. Nasty, natty, yeah, we live it. Lit the crowd, get the city loud. Yeah, we feastin' now. Fit the pounds, make the city howl. Now we beastin' now. Thunder through the tunnel, from the sideline to the huddle. Stripes we tatted on the jungle when we flex that who they muscle on them. Stripes, Cincinnati, we gon' rise in the jungle, we unite in drippin' orange and black and white. Who day when we fight, live and die in these stripes. Stripes. Now who gotta move like it on? Stripes. Now who wanna move closing on? Stripes. Now who wanna move on? If you got stripes, then you let the city know you rock 'em. Yeah, we got 'em. Yeah, we fought 'em. Like that black and orange on bottle. Bingo bottle. Never stop it. To the beast and know them. Who ain't rockin' with the diamond stripes? Flossin' on the ring. Cincinnati, she's our queen. We gon' show the world who king. Orange in the day, black in the night. Stripes in our veins, sparks gonna fly. The beast is awake, orange, black and white. Cause when the jungle come alive, who day we ignite in
What is going on, y'all? Happy Halloween. Welcome to the show. This is Sports with Strawberry Ice. I'm your host, the Iceman, Jeff Turnipole. And as always, I'm bringing you sports from a West Side point of view right here in the great city of Cincinnati, Ohio, home of the back-to-back AFC North champion Cincinnati Bengals. Not to be a favorite, if you found the show, hit that like and subscribe button. Smash that thumbs up. You guys are awesome. I'm up to 2,416 subscribers. As always, I appreciate every single one of you guys. If you're watching on Twitter, X, or Facebook, and you have yet to subscribe to my channel, why not? Please do so. Please go to the YouTube channel, Sports with Strawberry Ice. Hit the subscription button, hit the bell for notification. Every time I go live, you'll be notified. Also, exclusively in the YouTube chat crew, we're doing super chats. So if you got something for the Godfather or the Brain that you want to ask, like, I don't know, what they dress up for Halloween or what's their favorite candy, or are they really best friends? I don't know, give me a super chat. I greatly appreciate it. And as always, I'm coming to you live from this glorious place. It's the Ice Cave. The Ice Cave is brought to you by T Properties. T Properties, quality housing for quality people. Check out the website at www.tpropertiesllc.com for all your rental property management needs and your rental needs. And you know it, we hit the jackpot when we drafted Joe Burrow, and he looked like Jackpot Joey this past Sunday. If you want any of the gear, got the hoodies, the hats, the flags, all these hats, the beer. Well, the beer is at break. Everything else is at jackpotjoey9.com. Portions of proceeds go to the Joe Burrow Hunger Relief Fund, the Joe Burrow Foundation. What is up to everybody in the chat? We got strangers in the first. Brad, Kevin, Rainmaker's in there. Jungle Jerry, what's up? All right, let's get to this because it's Halloween. I know everybody wants to get out there, get their candy out. So let's get to John the Brain Sheeran first. Going on, John?
Nothing much, man. Happy holidays. Happy Halloween.
Yeah. Same to you, brother. Same to you. I like it. Let's
Halloween's a lot better when the Bengals aren't playing the Browns.
Oh God, dude! Last year I was I was like so excited to hurry up and get the candy out and everything, and then I want to go run in and watch the game. And wow, I was all excited for nothing because that game sucked last year. That was horrible. Let's get the Godfather in here. The Godfather.
Fellas, what's going on?
What's up, Godfather? How are you? I have an offer you can't refuse.
I am good. It's Halloween, and we are talking about a dub.
Exactly.
I mean, this is like John just said. I mean, man, last Halloween we were. Oh God, that was pretty brutal. So, yeah, we're having a little more fun this time around.
Exactly. So today's Halloween. It was trade deadline at 4:00 today. I don't think any of us are surprised that the Bengals didn't do anything. I mean, are you guys? Did you have any hope we'd do anything?
I'll let you go take that, Anthony.
He's
You
gonna
know,
defer.
I thought this, so I didn't expect him to make a move personally, but I thought if they were this year or this trade deadline was kind of the one that would be most likely that they would make a move as opposed to the last handful of years. I just felt like, they're 4-3. You got a pretty complete team, but there's a couple of areas where you feel like you can maybe improve, whether that's, finding another backup running back that gives you some other versatility, whether that's helping out the tight end group, maybe additional pass rush help, that sort of thing. And, I'm not overly surprised at all, really, that they didn't make a trade. But I thought that if we're looking, let's just say like the last half decade, I thought that this would have been the most likely of all of those
If
years.
they were going to do it, yeah.
But overall, I'm not surprised that they didn't.
John?
Pretty much agreed on all fronts. It seemed like a pretty simple calculus to me. The Bengals have literally the worst tight end group in the NFL. I don't think that's up for debate.
I agree with that.
There were at least, a handful of tight ends who were rumored to be available for trade. None of them got traded today. Hunter Henry, Logan Thomas, all of them, I think, stayed put, which tells me that it probably wouldn't have taken very much to acquire at least one of them. Even if it wasn't just a straight, like a player for a pick swap, probably could have gotten the job done. There were plenty of players who I think were traded today for maybe less than maybe what they were worth. And for at least a 1-year rental for any of these tight ends, I don't think it would have cost more than just a 6th or maybe a 6th and a 7th or whatever the case may have been for that swap. I obviously, it's not expected that the Bengals ever do these types of trades. It's typically just a player for a player, and there just wasn't really a player on the Bengals roster that I think made sense to really trade away right now, especially for.
I would have gave away Irv Smith. They could have had Irv Smith for another tight end.
I don't think he has any positive value right now. Unfortunately,
I don't think he's the commodity. Yeah,
but I think like the past 3 years, it's been fun to try to identify where these tendency breakers are going to come from in terms of just them doing things differently. And sometimes it's been unexpected, but I think we were all kind of in the same mind. Like if this was the time to kind of break this tendency, this would have been the thing, right? They have a contending roster. They have a clear glaring weakness, and they have options to make that better, and they still didn't do it. So we're just going to have to wait and see when this tendency does finally break, if it ever does.
Yeah. I mean, I kind of with both of you, I like AC said, I kind of thought if they were going to do it, it would be this year. They've broken a lot of tendencies that, they didn't do in the past. This might be a good time to do it. I was hoping for a tight end, or I'm down at Chase Brown is on IR. I'm even more concerned about the backup running back than I was before. I mean, Joe Mixon looked awesome Sunday, but he also had, a bye week. So he had another week to rest. So hopefully hopefully he can keep playing like that. But that's the one thing I was concerned about. This is one thing I've been saying since training camp. Tanner Hudson, I think he looks the best all-around tight end that we have. And people, I put that out there. People are like, well, who are you going to replace? And I was like, well, Irv Smith. I mean, because I think Sample has a spot, and Mitchell Wilcox have a spot. They have positions and they have jobs that they do. Irv Smith is supposed to be the number one guy, and he's just hasn't lived up to what he's billing to be. And Tanner Hudson has got one more call up, and then they have to put him on the active roster. What's you guys' thoughts of Tanner Hudson? I mean, I think he's worth a shot at least to see what he can do, because he's played pretty good.
This just really just explains it all. If you're doing everything in your power to hype up Tanner Hudson, like that just kind of explains like the state of the tight end group. But of course, yeah. Yes, when he was on the field and playing for them, he looked more natural at the position. Like he was actually getting looks from Burrow in the first place, which it seemed like for a minute Irv Smith just wasn't getting any attention. He definitely isn't looking for Wilcox in whenever he's out there, and whenever the ball is to Drew Sample, it's been the same results for the past 5 years. So they need anything. And the only thing the only direction they can turn to is Hudson. So yeah, I'm in agreement. They have that one last elevation chance that they can have. So they might as well use it just to see what he can do. And if he impresses, or if he does literally anything more than what the 3 tight ends that they've had, if he does anything more than them in the passing game, then might as well just bring him up and just make room for him.
Right.
I think if we're talking Tanner Hudson, I think that look, the Bengals have a offensive systems that is designed a certain way, and I think we all, myself included, we would like a little more flash and sizzle out of the tight end spot. And I think Hudson brings that receiving ability where you go, man, that's an extra dimension in this offense right now. But And we're also coming off of a game with 2 tight ends showing, pretty poor. Yeah, Sample drops one. Yeah. Smith fumbles one in the red zone, right? So you go, oh my God. But so I think it's a little over exaggerated just because we're coming off of that specific game with those 2 players having those plays. But I think also, you look at it now and they're just not reliant on that position for receiving yards in general, the way things are designed. You've got your big 3 wide receivers now. They are mixing in more of Trenton Irwin, and now Yoshivas is being a red zone weapon. He's got 2 touchdowns the last couple of games, right? So maybe that's where the emergence comes from. Maybe that's where, you're not getting it from the tight end position, those receiving yards, the red zone targets, all that kind of stuff. Maybe you're getting it from your 5th wide receiver, your 4th wide receivers. And if it's working, don't fix what's not broken. Right.
Right.
I do think we probably will at some point, be it because of injury or continued ineffectiveness. You probably will see Tanner Hudson at some point. And that's probably why they didn't make a move. Aside from maybe, there's not a perceived value for what was maybe asked if they inquired. So, I get the adoration, I guess, a little bit with Hudson, and because he's huge and he is shown to be the most natural pass catcher in that group. But just right now, I don't think that they're really caring too much about if that position gives you anything. It's kind of more like, oh, that's an added bonus, because now we're really reliant on the wide receivers. We're reliant on Joe Mixon making plays.
Yeah, I don't like I said, we're never going to be a tight end heavy offense. You got to have that guy for that check down. If the tight ends are going to get 1 or 2 shots a game, if that, they got to make the plays. And that's where they got to be reliant. That's the part for me. It's just like, when we had CJ Uzomah and we had Hayden Hurst last year's, when they got their opportunity, made plays and made an impact. So that's where I'm like, yes, we don't use the tight end, but when we do, it's nice to have a guy you can rely on to catch the ball. So that's where I was kind of hoping. Well, yeah, I've been saying this since the draft. I thought they were going to draft one, and they didn't. So it's kind of been my issue with them all season. Let's get to Dustin Kraft for the $5 super chat. So it's kind of sad seeing other teams get better around us, and the fact that we are super thin at running back, O-line, 1 injury in those areas, and yeah, and that's kind of where I'm at with the I'm more concerned with the running back. I know we've been talking tight end, but with Chase Brown's injury, and Chase Brown he's only ran the ball 3 times, 4 times, I think, all season, not much at all. But I do think he was going to get more carries as the season progressed. And we have – Travion looked better, I think, Sunday. So that's more of a concern for me right now as far as depth goes. Because, if we need to bring up Tanner Hudson, we can. We have him. We don't really have anybody else if another running back goes down. That I feel comfortable with. What do you guys think?
Nah, I think Sunday was great for the progression of the offense in general. I still look back at the AFC Championship game and the 2 biggest problems in that game with the offense, because you had all the receivers healthy. You had next to nothing from your ancillary weapons outside of just Chase and Higgins. You were getting all the attention from the Chiefs, right? I still go back to that. Even if the offense in itself, yeah, it's 11 personnel. It's even now more like 10 personnel in some cases when you're trying to get 4 receivers out there. So yeah, tight end is not that big of important, nor is running back in terms of just their receiving production, because clearly they just aren't involving any of those guys in the passing game. But when you are in those situations again, when you need other guys to step up and you need other avenues to get the ball out quickly, yeah, they just haven't done enough, whether it be in free agency or the draft, now the trade deadline. So I think when you have your receivers kind of popping off against weak secondaries like the San Francisco 49ers have, or against weak pass rushes, yeah, it works great. But they had chances to make it a little bit better, a little bit easier on themselves, and give themselves more secondary options. And they just haven't done enough to the point where you can be comfortable if they enter that situation again, that's going to end up differently this time.
All right.
Yeah. Mon, you posted his comment there. Yeah. Boyd was injured early in that game, and that was kind of, I think, aside from long-term vision, that was the thinking behind the Charlie Jones pick.
Yes.
You down the stretch, you lose a guy like that, we got to have someone get in there and make a play. Now, Trenton Irwin in the slot has been, a good player and has had some nice performances. For some reason in that game, it just wasn't working.
Yeah, he disappeared in that game.
Yeah. So there's all that. I guess going back to Dustin's comment about the frustrations and all that kind of stuff, where mine reside, I guess, is that, You see the Bills make a move, right? You see the Niners make a real splashy move the week after, and so that these are teams that are feeling like, hey, we gotta, they're feeling a little bit. We have to be aggressive. We have to be aggressive to continue this push towards the postseason sort of thing. And tied into that is also my frustration is the Bengals continued. I don't know if you want to call it arrogance. I don't know if you want to call it overconfidence or whatever, but in their own draft process in a lot of different ways. Now, granted, I mean, the last handful of drafts have shaped who they are.
Right. Oh yeah.
Chase, the high picks, right? But when you go down and I'm talking about namely offensive line picks. I'm talking about some of the defensive line picks, that sort of thing. And what they have done of late is they've actually, moved up and around the draft and got up and got more impact players, which is awesome. But right here, it just feels like they're doing that old school kind of hoarding of the picks and compensatory pick formula and all that kind of stuff. And I go, that's where I get a little frustrated because this is now, you got a Higgins contract potentially on the horizon. You got a DJ Reader contract potentially on the horizon. If you can make one little move here to bolster depth somewhere that would make a lot of sense, I think that's where, a lot of people are maybe being a little frustrated today where it's like, man, you kind of had an opportunity, but you also don't want to make a move just to make a move.
Right.
I mean,
it's got to make sense.
I mean, it has to make sense. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, one thing you brought up, and I've noticed this on Twitter, that a lot of people are giving Jonah Williams some love, which I love because I've defended him a ton on here. I didn't think he was a horrible left tackle, like everybody said. I thought he could be a pretty good right tackle. Now people are coming out, which, again, I said this, that I hope if he's a really good right tackle, I hope we sign him. So that's to be the problem. We keep talking about T. Higgins. We want to sign him, which I want to sign him too. There's got to be some very, very good thinking or posturing for the Bengals to possibly re-signing Jonah Williams and maybe putting him above signing T. Higgins now. I mean, the way that offensive line looked yesterday with all of them in there, that's the best they played. And hopefully if that's the jumping off point, our offensive line just goes up from there. What's your guys' thoughts on how Jonah Williams done? And do you value him more at right tackle over T, or is T still higher?
How the turntables.
I know. Dude, I love it. I love it because I got so sick and tired of everybody talking about how, Jonah Williams is horrible. Like, no, he's not. Yeah, go ahead.
I think looking at their list of free agents next year, you can kind of glance at who's probably not going to be here. Like Awuzie is probably gone. They replaced him with DJ Turner. Mm-hmm. DJ Reader, I would probably lean he's gone too, even though he's probably going to be good for the next couple of years. I think
that's going to kill me.
I know, but like you have to think there's a lot of cap space for them, and there's just some free agents that just don't fit the mold of who they bring back. T. Higgins, it's probably tag or free agency for him too. So if that's the tag, that's a lot of money. But even still, like you're looking at all these the impact players who are entering the market, and like Jonah Williams is there, and we don't really know for sure what type of market he's got, but it's probably going to be, around that 18 to 20 million range if he continues his play like this. That's what starting caliber tackles kind of go for. If you have all these other guys who are either leaving or, again, like there's just some indecision there, I think that does become a conversation. I think the Bengals would value Jonah Williams enough to bring him back on a contract like that. It kind of is up to him if he wants to stick around here, if he wants to be a left tackle someplace else. That's probably the main variable here. But the Bengals, for the first time in like maybe 10 years, have two stable tackles. Like maybe one of them are going to have an off day here and there because it's like competition at edge is just insane. But this is the first time since maybe 2015 that they've had two guys that they can rely on a week-to-week basis, and that has to mean something.
I have 3 questions in response to your question, Iceman. I mean, I would love. It's John mentioned one of them. Does he even want to come back, John Williams, based on how this whole offseason played out? Now, maybe things are a lot better based on him moving beyond it and now getting some of these accolades. Number 2, if and when he hits the open market, does he get this overinflated contract that, the frenzy always drives, right? The free agency frenzy, it always drives it. Or does he get paid like a left tackle? Or does the rest of the league say, we're using this as this year as the standard at right tackle, and that's that's how we're gonna pay you, or that's where we're gonna play you. The other question I have, and I don't want to, I'm not trying to put bad vibes out there, but one of the things with Jonah Williams has always been health and the
Right,
inability to play a full season. Now that has granted been great so far this year. I hope it stays the whole way. Yeah. Knock on wood everywhere. Yeah.
right.
I hope it stays that way, but that's one of the things we have to monitor with this in terms of him staying and whatnot. I think right now, I think he is still behind for me, and maybe I would project in the Bengals' eyes as well in terms of their priority of offseason signings. I think they really want to keep Higgins. They've been asked about being traded. Supposedly, there's rumors he was they're trying to get people to trade him away and all that kind of stuff, and didn't happen. It also didn't happen. Well, it also didn't happen. In the spring when those rumors were supposedly coming up too. So, I think he remains their top priority. And then probably Jonah, and see how all of the numbers and his, if he wants to come back, that sort of thing, if that all works out. I'd like to think Reeder's up there, but again, the age thing, I don't know how that team would do that.
Hard to replace.
I know.
I just don't know. Jonah, I don't know who, if you lose him, is it Carmen? That's.
That is very much an equal situation though, 100%. And I think Jonah just fits more of who they would bring back in comparison. Right. But I don't think you can lose both those guys in my opinion, because that's two really hard players to replace.
And I hate to say this, and I don't want them to do this, but the way it's looking, the person, I don't even say replace, but we have somebody in place here to possibly take his spot the way he's playing, and he's not gonna, maybe he'll be as good as T. I don't know, but the way Yoshimash is playing. We don't have anybody really that I'm comfortable with to replace Jonah or DJ. Well, Yoshivash, he's not. I'm not saying Yoshivash is as good as T at all. I'm not saying that, but he's here and he's making progress. And that if you tag a trade T, then that could give you some money to re-sign Jonah or DJ. Like I said, I don't want that to happen, but I'm just thinking out loud here.
I think T. Higgins when he's right and healthy and all that, I think he just brings a dimension to this offense that is just a mismatch nightmare for an opposition. Yeah. Now, that being said, you also look at it, and I guess you would say historically, now granted, of course, there's the Munozes and the Whitworths and the Willie Andersons and all the great tackles that they have drafted in the upper rounds. But if you were to look at how the Bengals have drafted and developed linemen in the offensive linemen in their recent history, as opposed to drafted and developed wide receivers in their recent and maybe not so recent history. To me, I feel like they've had a pretty good track record of wide receivers, particularly when they get them second round, third round. They get guys who can come in and produce pretty well for them, not necessarily first rounders. Second round running backs and wide receivers for this team has been historically pretty dang good.
That team is a second rounder.
Right. Right.
Second rounder.
And then you look at, Jackson Carman, Cedric Ogbuehi. There's a lot of these players in here where you go, oh man, maybe you just keep the commodities that you know about there. If you're forced to only keep one, I think you would, like John said, I think you really have to try and keep both those guys, especially if things keep on track the way they are this year. But, I just feel like you gotta, there's some tough decisions to make, but they got to try and keep both those guys in some capacity.
Yeah, but luckily we don't have to worry about that for a couple months. Hopefully, after we get a Lombardi here, and I think Sunday was a great statement. And I've said this when I think both of you've been on. I know you've been on the show multiple times. Beginning of the season, didn't go so hot. Joe was hurt. I kept saying, I'm like, this looks like a lot like last year. And then when Joe Burrow said after the Arizona game, he goes, that reminded me a lot of the Saints game last year, and light bulb went off my head. I'm like, yeah, you're right. And then I think if I'm correct, then we had the debacle in the Browns game last year, and then after that it happened before that. Yeah,
no, Saints game. Yeah, the Saints and Falcons then Browns. So the Falcons they went off though.
Yeah, so they went. I guess my point is had the debacle of the Browns game. Then they took off and went undefeated all the way until the AFC Championship game. To me, it feels like Sunday was that point where, all right, Joe's healthy. He's running around. T's making plays. Joe Mixon, we as a team, we ran for over 100, I think it was 134 yards. That's the most we rushed all year. To me, that's the jumping off point again for where we can take off again like we did last year. And I'm not, it ain't going to be easy to go out and win the rest of them, but hey, they could. They did it last year. That's being orange-colored sunglasses. But how are you guys feeling about this second half and where this team is right now?
that offense was the vision for the summer,
Mhm.
and it was painted through what they were practicing. Guys were healthy, obviously, starting with the quarterback. It's such a difference when Burrow can hold the ball and wait for plays to develop, and he's not getting it out in 2.2 seconds, and it
Mhm.
limits the offense, it limits how much explosion you can have. And also, obviously, if he's not under center and you're not getting out different looks for the defense, it just makes defenses' lives just so much easier. It's what we saw in the first 4 weeks, and especially with him just not being able to move or
Right.
step into throws. Everything that was wrong with Joe Burrow in the first 4 weeks was a complete distant memory against the 49ers, and it led to just an opening script where I think they had like 8 or 9 under center plays. They didn't run out of all of them. They actually had some drop back passing. They had some play action out of there. It was the next step that they had to take from the past couple of years, and it just led to all these guys just playing up to their potential. Like Chase, great game. Higgins looked just miles better compared to where he was, even when he was healthy before the rib fracture. You had Mixon, I think, rejuvenated. He was getting different run concepts to run out of under center. Then they just mixed in some shotgun, little inside zone in there as well. Just everything looked in sync, and obviously it wasn't perfect. They had their dry spouts in the middle of the game there, and the defense gave them some nice field position. But just from a planning perspective, like, this is what the offense needs to look like going forward. It needs to continue building its consistency. But when you have Burrow just able to do those types of things, it's not always going to be 88% completion percentage, especially against better secondaries. But that version of Joe Burrow makes everything else kind of click.
I feel like, and I know this may come off and people go, what the hell is this guy talking about? I feel like that was one of probably a top 3 performance that I've seen Joe Burrow make in the pros. And maybe it's just because I was there and I just felt, I was like, wow. But you're on the road. That's a good team. By the way, just if you're talking about other ancillary stuff, they had like both, you guys don't even know, like they had both the Super Bowl team, the teams that beat the Bengals, the 1980s teams were there.
I know, they kept showing them.
They kept showing them and showing. I mean, even in commercial breaks, they were showing. I'm like, dude, stop panning on these guys. But
that's why we don't call him Joe Cool, because of that team right there. Call him whatever you want. Sorry, I hate the suck numbers.
But I'm telling you, and I feel like for both teams, there was a level of pressure to get that game in your favor. And I have to tell you, not only the 87.5% completion rate, close to 300 yards. Of course, he's had more yards, and there's the Ravens game where he threw for 500 plus and all that. I just felt efficiency. I felt decision-making, and I felt the accuracy on a couple of throws were, and he's always been hyper accurate. We know that, but the one where he obviously scrambled out of 3 pressures on one play and threw a dot to Tyler Boyd. The one in the end zone, there was another touchdown to Boyd in the corner of the end zone, just absolute and strike. It just felt like, as John said, everything was clicking. This is what we have been waiting for, and it was complete domination. And guys, I'm going to tell you this too. I'm sure you already know. Missed field goal, fumble at the 3-yard line. This was a 14-point win, and all of a sudden you're talking about at least 6 points potentially, because McPherson hits a 56-yarder after he misses the 50-yarder.
Right.
And then you look at, either you get another field goal or a touchdown there or what have you. This could have been a lot worse. And I look back initially, I was telling my buddy, this was closer than the score was. And then I thought back, I'm like, no, it wasn't. No, it wasn't.
Yeah.
It was not closer than the score indicated, because the Bengals had opportunities to really stranglehold that game.
AC, that's what I kept seeing the whole time watching the game. I'm over at my sister's house watching. My brother-in-law was there, and I'm like, dude, we're blowing them out. He goes, and at that time, we were on winning by a touchdown. He goes, we're not blowing them out. I said, dude, we're beating them in every facet of the game. If we don't have that fumble, I said the same thing. We don't have a fumble, and Shooter makes the field goal like he does. This game isn't even close. I mean, that's the thing that was mind-blowing to me. I know you were at the game, but listening to Tony Romo just go off about how great Brock Purdy did on a throw that was incomplete. I mean, he literally did a highlight of a throw that was incomplete. I'm like, did you see the window that Joe threw the ball to the Jamar Chase? I mean, it was ridiculous. Joe was on time and accurate yesterday or Sunday, excuse me. He was if Sample didn't drop the pass, he would have got his 20 straight completions and set the record. But one thing that I noticed right off the bat, we knew they were going to try to go under center. That was a thing they talked about in the offseason in training camp. But last year, it seemed like when they won under center, they ran the ball almost every time. The first couple times they won under center, they did play action. And I think that almost set the run up more because I don't think first of all, the 49ers had no tape on us doing this. I think they were really confused, didn't know if you're going to run it or pass it. That was, I think, a different thing there, Vine that the Bengals did that the 49ers weren't prepared for. I'll put it that way. If I get my words out right here.
I know John wants to take this one.
No, like I mean, like what year are we in, right? Because there was a time where the shotgun wasn't a thing. Everything was under center by design, and that's because it's hard to diagnose from the pre-snap. And then, college football took over, and the spread offense became a thing, and everyone was in shotgun. And now the pendulum is swinging back. You've seen a lot of offenses go under center more and have more play action, more 12 personnel, and everything like that. I think you had a good point though, because obviously last year when they were failing miserably under center, they were only running the ball and it was making it painstakingly obvious what they were trying to do. So when they were now going under center right out of the gate, the 49ers, their only knowledge of that was, oh, they like to run under center, and when all of a sudden they're just drop back passing like it's Peyton Manning in the early 2000s, with the Colts. So yeah, like that whole sudden shift, I should say, was definitely not working in the 49ers' favor. It made them hesitant. And if you can do anything to slow down Nick Bosa and Eric Armstead, because both those guys eventually broke through, at some point because they're just that talented. But anything that you can do to make the defense freeze for just a minute and let your guys on the outside win, it definitely makes a difference. I will say, though, yes, it was a 14-point win. Yes, the Bengals left a lot of points on the board. I think it kind of balances out, though, because Brock Purdy threw an interception at the 5, and then he threw an interception on the very next play, right? But the only difference is Brock Purdy, I think, is 4th in the NFL in turnover-worthy throw percentage. He's been putting the ball in harm's way consistently this year. It's only been catching up to him in the past couple of weeks. So the 49ers' mistakes, they're more telegraphed in terms of, they've been making those mistakes all year, and now they're just coming back to haunt them. Those mistakes from the Bengals, obviously McPherson missing and fumbling at 3, it's not common for the Bengals. So yes, I do think things kind of ended up balancing out there.
How great was the interception Pratt had, though? That was crazy, athletic as hell.
That man despises PBUs. He only likes interceptions. It's crazy.
Go ahead, AC. What do you think about that?
I mean, we always, always for ages and ages and ages, we were talking about 1990s to early 2000s type of offense where you run the ball to set up the pass. And, it's always been that. And then everybody's like, why aren't we getting, and myself a little bit included early this year when you saw the high yards per carry average from Mixon in those first couple of games, and it's not translating to points, but it goes back, and John and I have talked about this a lot on our show, it goes back to when that pass offense is efficient and working, and you can be a little bit diverse in your looks, whether you are in shotgun or directly under center, it makes the defense be more susceptible to the run. And I think that's what we are seeing quite a bit in Mixon again, 5.5 yards per carry almost, I think this week. So, just things open up more when you're able to do other things. Oh, there you go. Right there.
4.96.
That says it all right there. Mm-hmm. Yeah. That says it all right.
A lot of that's Burrow too. I think Burrow had 43 scramble yards on 4 or 5 scrambles.
Yeah. And speaking of him scrambled, and people said it in the chat here, I kept yelling at him, slide. And then the one where he dove head first and then they hit him in the leg. I'm like, oh my God, what are you doing? And then he gets up, pounds his head. Like, all right, I guess he's okay, but he's scared the crap out of me. I'm like, he's got to stop.
Never does. I think I can think of a couple of times that he's ever slid.
He charges up his same meter. Like you seem like he really fiends. He's a masochist. He likes getting hit. It's crazy.
Dude, he's an alien. He even had the mask on yet. Which did you guys? I didn't even know this was a.
I thought that was fake, by the way.
I thought it was too. I didn't know this was actually him yesterday, or I keep saying yesterday, Sunday. I thought somebody, put that on him or something.
It looks composited. It doesn't. The lighting looks. It just doesn't look like it's real.
I didn't know until I saw the dude walking behind him, and I'm like, well, that has to be Joe Burrow then in that outfit.
So we have confirmed he is an alien. So that makes a lot of sense. But one thing, the other thing that I wish would have happened. Talking about Jermaine Pratt having the interception and hopefully taking it to the house. Ted Karras had the ball. Why the hell did they blow the whistle? He was gone. He stiff-armed the linebacker, and he was going to take it to the house. I was running. Yeah, run, Ted, run. And yeah, they blew it, Ted. Wow, how cool would have that been if Ted Karras would have scored a touchdown there?
They got really lucky with fumbles, though, I think, because Chase fumbled and he recovered it like immediately. And then obviously that was a strip sack from Burrow, but they called it dead, even though they shouldn't have done it. So, man, that would have been fun, though.
That Chase one, too, I don't know how he got that back. It felt like there were a lot of people around him, if I remember correctly. I'm trying to remember the play.
Because so when I saw it live, I'm like, oh crap. Well, I thought it did hit the ground. I thought they just took it from him live, and then when it was replay, he didn't get a chance. He never really secured it. He didn't really make a football move. So we got lucky on that. But that was also third down. We had to punt it after that, but at least we didn't turn it over. But yeah, that was one that was. So we get lucky on a couple things. Things actually started bouncing our way for a change, which is nice. But I still, one other point I want to make, the roughing the passer. Did you guys, I mean, from what I saw, DJ Reader and them hit him in the waist and then slid down to his legs. I mean, do they have to become a little more transparent of these calls, or are they just getting out of hand?
I mean, there were examples in this game where Reader was doing the correct thing in terms of like there was a couple of hits on Purdy that he had where he purposely like only hit him with like half his body and made sure that he wasn't landing on him. It's just a really fine line to draw, and I think unfortunately part of the NFL right now is that you just kind of have to assume that one of those calls is not going to go your way. You know, if not every game, like once every other game, right? It's just a variable that you unfortunately have to kind of account for. And it stinks because I feel like it's very blurry too, because sometimes there are clear and obvious ones that aren't called, and sometimes there are ones
Joe
where
Burrow.
you can, Joe
like, never gets 8 calls.
There was one against Kenny Pickett that was ridiculous too, where like it wasn't called, and I think it was the one where he got injured too. So like there's some times where they miss it, and there's some times where they're too eager to blow the whistle. So it's definitely a problem in terms of just the transparency and maybe like the clarity of it all. But yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah, and then you got just quickly. You had a lot of significant quarterback injuries and or scares throughout the league right now, whether it's Rodgers and then Burrow was one of them, and Purdy coming off of the concussion, and then you got Kirk Cousins now, and I mean, so I think now you're going to see maybe some calls where you go, oh man, that was weak, but I think the league's going to really try, for better or for worse, I think they're going to really try and maybe start protecting the quarterbacks even more so that some of the the star players are not going to be out for the year, that sort of thing.
Right, exactly. All right. With that being said, it's Halloween, and I hear people already getting ready to get outside. Let's go candy out here. Real quick.
What are you giving out, Jeff? What are you giving out?
I try to give out everything except Reese cups because those are mine. I love those.
That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah, all right. So that's my go-to candy. What you got? It's Halloween. What's your go-to? What's your favorite candy? Mine's Reese cup or anything Reese's. Anything Reese's. Reese's Pieces, Fast Break, any of that stuff. It's chocolate peanut butter. It's mine. What do you guys got?
Oh man, I've never been coconut. I've never been nuts in my chocolate. I'm a big Skittles guy though. Huge Skittles.
Ah, there you go.
Yeah.
Okay. What about you, AC?
I'm not a huge sweets guy. I mean, I love Reese's because that combo is unbelievable. You know what though? And I'm gonna be Mr. Unpopular. I'm not gonna say candy corn because that's not. That's a Lou and a rumor said. That's the polarizing.
He said that on the McAfee show today.
There are dozens of us. Dozens.
Yeah. But I do like, and not necessarily for Halloween candy per se, but I do like a black licorice flavor. I used to hate it as a kid. I used to hate it growing. Yeah, so like Good and Plenty's now I'm like all about. And even like black licorice. Not all the time, mind you, but every once in a while I'm like, dang, that's
really. You're like the only person I know that likes black. I love the red licorice.
Kit Kats are solid. I mean, Kit Kats are solid
too.
Kit Kats are good
too.
Yeah.
So you guys dressing up for anything tonight? I know you got young kids, AC. They dressing up tonight and going out?
So yeah, the boys are Mario and Luigi.
Yeah,
and the younger one is Mario because Mario is the shorter one. So they're Mario. We were gonna do the whole I was either gonna be like Donkey Kong or Bowser or something, and the wife was gonna be Peach, and we couldn't get we couldn't find costumes to do it, not on Amazon, not in stores or anything. So yeah, we just couldn't find them in time. So I don't know. I'll have to makeshift something here. I don't know yet, but the kids are dressing up. I know that.
Yeah. I know, John. You said you're talking about offer. You dressed up. What last night was it? What it was?
Yeah, we had like a party little thing going on Saturday, so we all dressed up and went out, and it was a good time.
Yeah. All right, guys.
I was Tiger Woods. I got like my sister made like a Augusta National logo, and I put it on like a cheap green jacket. I already had the hat and the shirt and everything, so it was good.
Nice.
Rob guessed it. I'm dressing up as a Bengals fan.
There you go.
Well, John, I have a shirt. I have a Halloween shirt that I bought specifically for Halloween, and it's orange. It's got the Grim Reaper on it, and it says, "Don't mind me, I'm here for the beer." And I can't find it every time. And I've only worn a Halloween a couple times because I can never freaking find it. Anyway.
I could get like a blonde mullet wig and put on a Boomer jersey. You know what
I
mean?
There you
go. The big shades. Maybe I'll think about that.
All right. Well, I know AC, you had a lot of fun. You're in San Francisco this weekend, so you are. Well, what's your record at Bengals? Because you came in for the Minnesota game and you won. Super Bowl we lost.
I think I went back to like 2003, and now I think I'm 7-8. I think I went back and I looked at so we're getting close to 500. 2-0 this year. 1-1 in 21. I didn't go to a game last year.
You got to come. Actually, you should come this weekend because we got Corey Dillon coming to town to come hang out with us. So he's gonna be hanging out with us a lot one. And apparently, Chad's gonna not a lot one. Chad's coming to the game, and Willie Anderson's coming to the game too. So like everybody's coming to the game.
It'll be a biggie.
Exactly. All right, guys. Plug your pod and everything else before I let you go, please.
Orange and Black Insider. John and I co-host that. We do a handful of shows a week, and especially in season where we do post game and or kind of we're gonna go live after like a little bit after your show here, I think, and it's called The Aftermath, and then we do a preview show where we usually have a guest to come in and talk about the other team, that sort of thing as well on Thursdays. And and I do some writing at Cincy Jungle. John, he's got some other projects he does as well.
Yeah, I write my stuff at atozsports.com/Cincinnati. We do a Bengals podcast. We're going live in like 15 minutes. I'm not sure what we're going to talk about. I feel like we already talked about all of it here, but
I know. Can we just splice this and throw it on the?
Yeah, just splice it and share it over there. It'll be fine.
Oh, hey, Ice. Thanks, man. You always are really kind to John and I. We appreciate it, man. You have a great show. You have great guests, and you, the Bengals and Brews guys, and all of them are really, really kind and good to us. So I don't want to speak for John, but I'm sure he echoes the sentiment that we appreciate it, my friend.
It's always a good time on the West Side.
Duh, West Side's the best side. Well, I appreciate you guys. Anytime you guys come on, it's always awesome. So happy Halloween. Go have some fun.
Back at you.
I'm very proud that I'm the pre-show for the main show. So this is cool.
No.
All right, guys. Talk to you later. Hooday.
All right. See you, buddy.
See you, dude. All right, guys. I hope you enjoyed that as much as I did. Go check them out. They're going to be on here in like in about 15 minutes. So The Brain and The Godfather are two of my favorite dudes. I love watching their stuff. And I got to get out of here because I hear people getting ready to do Sand Out Candy. So I got to go. But let me get to the Facebook groups that let me live stream. I appreciate every single one of them. They are Houday Nation, Houday Legion, Bearcat Ruckus, Radical Reds, the Ohio State Bucknuts, the Ice Bar. And you can follow me on all my social media platforms, all under sports with Strawberry Ice. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. Twitter handle is at Jeff A. Chernobyl. TikTok is at Iceman90. I'll be pulling a sign up later on tonight. Put it on the podcast on BeanPod, Apple, iTunes, Spotify, Google, Stitcher Play, pretty much wherever you get your podcast. Please make sure you rate, like, and review. Leave a 5-star review and a comment so more Cincinnati fans can find my podcast. YouTubers, we're at 2,416 subscribers. You guys are awesome. I really do appreciate all you guys. And like I said, if you hit the likes, the thumbs up, all that stuff like they're saying in the chat, it just helps the algorithm and all that stuff. So I appreciate you guys. I appreciate you watching. Share the show out. Tell your friends, tell your neighbors about Sports with Strawberry Ice. The Bengals are on a heater. I'm pretty much going to bet on them to win the rest of the games. That's just me because I'm a crazy Bengal fan. But that's what we're about to do. Buffalo's going down. Sunday night's going to be a blast. Corey Dillon's going to be here. I cannot freaking wait. Other than that, that's your sports, baby. See ya!
gonna fly. The beast is awake, orange, black, and white. Cause when the jungle come alive, who day we ignite and Cincinnati, we gon' rise and in the jungle we unite and drippin' orange and black and white. Who day when we fight, live and die in these streets. Wake up the beast, every game day is a feast. Time to bust it off the leash. In the jungle drippin' heat, tigers strike the city streets. East side stand up, west side stand up. If you reppin' who day, time to put your hands up. Bingo stripes, we in it. New day, new age, yeah, we get it. Cincinnati jungle fit it. Who day in our house, we win it. Orange and black and white, we build it. Earn our stripes, you know we kill it. Bleed our colors, jungle drippin', nasty natty, yeah, we live it. Lit the crowd, get the city loud. Yeah, we feastin' now. Fit the pounce, make the city howl. Now we beastin' now. Thunder through the tunnel, from the sideline to the huddle. Stripes we tatted on the jungle when we flex that who they muscle on them. Stripes, Cincinnati, we gon' rise and in the jungle we unite and drippin' orange and black and white.